So what you mean?
What?
Jonas.
What?
What I like about this sign is that it really speaks to the heart of what our talk is today. Because I'm here to do some magic tricks for you, of course, but more importantly, I'm here to talk about how we can think, be, and stay positive in a world where so many things are keeping things so negative. And remembering that there's magic everywhere, it reminds us that their magic is everywhere. We just have to take the time to look for it. We're going to do a quick card trick.
Right.
I'm going to have you just choose a card as I shuffle them. So wherever you'd like, just say stop, and that will become your card. So just say stop.
Right. Stop.
Right there. Take a look at your card. Don't tell me what it is. I'll show the people around you. All right? Do you remember your card?
Yep.
All right. If you could do me a favor, hold out your hand. I'm going to give you the card. You're going to put your other hand on top.
Okay.
Put your other hand on top. Perfect. There's no way that I could know what the card is. There's no way I could know where it is. There's no way I could have snuck the card out of the deck, right? And yet maybe there is a way. Inside of my pocket is my wallet. Inside my wallet, bum bum bum, is a card.
Oh shoot.
Is it possible that this card has your card on it? Is it possible?
Anything possible.
Because
What does that mean?
Magic.
Magic's
everywhere.
magic's it.
Okay.
All right, Bruce.
Yeah.
For the first time, in a loud voice so everyone can hear, what card are you thinking of?
3.
The 3?
Yeah.
Was it a club, a heart, a spade?
Heart.
The 3 of hearts. Take a look. The 3 of hearts.
What?
Oh!
It's printed
Oh
on this card
Oh my god.
because all the cards are printed on this card.
Oh my god.
Give Bruce a nice big hand.
Wow. Shocking.
Now, I know some of you might be a little disappointed.
What?
You're thinking, that's fake. Fake magic. Fake news. Right?
Now it's wrong.
Wait, is he gonna let go of the card?
You see, this is what I want us to understand, though. We see what we want to see. If we want to find the 3 of hearts, well, we can set ourselves up to find it if we set us up for success. But you saw the 3 of hearts. That was the card that you saw inside the deck. The real magic trick is you seeing that card. Not the fact that all 52 cards are inside my wallet, but that you saw that card. Watch close.
Oh
It
no.
disappeared.
What?
Oh!
Bird!
Come on, come on.
He doesn't trust me.
I want to see him.
But
That's big. That's big.
what's your name?
Come on. Come on.
Come on. This is a challenge. It's going to be a challenge. But this is what we're talking about, though. You see, Bruce saw the 3 of hearts. Someone else might not have seen the 3 of hearts. It's all about choosing what we focus on. I'm going to tell you a quick story about a time that this idea of choosing to focus on positive things rather than negative things helped me deal with a difficult situation. I was on tour with a band. I was their opening act doing my magic. And we made our way all the way down to Washington, D.C., as far north as Burlington, Vermont. And on our way through Pennsylvania, we stopped for a show in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Has anyone ever been to Pittsburgh? Some of you have. Some of you have. I've only been once, and I don't know if I'll ever go back. And it's because when we arrived in Pittsburgh, I helped the band get all of their equipment from our tour van into the club that we were performing in. And then once all the band's equipment was inside, I went back outside to the van to get my equipment so I could set up for my show. But just as I got outside, I became aware that there were 2 street thugs lurking about. Everyone go, ooh. And I knew that they were street thugs because I've watched television. These were just like the ones on TV. They had hoods and everything. My first instinct was to go back into the club and wait for the street thugs to scamper off. Or whatever it is street thugs do. But then I hesitated. And I hesitated because I thought to myself, I don't actually know that these 2 people are street thugs. That's just society. That's the media. That's my own fears and assumptions telling me something about 2 people that I know nothing about. So I ignored my fears and I went to the van. And just as I got to the sliding doors of the van, I felt 2 strong arms push me up against the van, and they proceeded to mug me. Now, I had never been mugged before, so this was all very exciting. I don't recommend it, but it is exciting. Now, this whole thing happened very quickly, and before I knew it, they were scampering off. Oh, it turns out they do scamper. It is what they do. And it happened so quickly. They scampered off with my wallet. I got my suitcase out, and I wandered into the club in kind of a daze, just in time to be told it was time to start the magic show. So I walk up on stage, and I start off my show by saying, I was just mugged outside, and everyone thought it was part of the show. Everyone just laughed and laughed. I said, no, it's true. It's terrible to be here. I don't want to be in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania anymore. Now, I tell you this story because how I responded to these events highlighted for me and for people who I told this story to the power of positivity. Because I realized that these street thugs were actually rather nice to me. Well, as nice as muggers can be. But it was all in their words. Their words were very, very specific. This is what they said to me after pushing me up against the van. They said, stay cool. Give it up. Did you catch it? Stay cool. Give it up. If you think about it, if you want to stay cool, you have to already be cool. They thought I was a pretty cool guy. So as a gesture of my appreciation for the compliment, I gave them my wallet. But here's the thing, I didn't know how much to tip. I know the standard is 10%. Or is it 20%? What's that?
What about your credit card signing list?
I lost it all. I lost it all. But even in this situation where I lost everything, there is a silver lining. There's something positive to get out of this. Because I now know the true meaning of the name Pittsburgh, Steelers.
Patriots.
So, what is it near the football game? Or is it near the football game and the Super Bowl?
Oh, they might. they might. Now, I used to tell this story as part of another presentation, and I used to tell it just for the joke, for the silly pun. But after one of my presentations, someone came up to me afterwards, and he told me that he really loved the Pittsburgh story. And I always love it when people come up to me and tell me what my stories meant to them. So I asked him what it was about the story that he liked so much. And he said that if he had been in that same situation, he would not have been able to find a way to laugh about it. And that really got me to thinking that you could take two different people and put them in the same situation. One person can walk away feeling bitter, but the other person can walk away fascinated by the whole thing. For me, it comes down to what we choose to focus on. It's kind of like the age-old saying, when life gives us lemons, what do? We make lemonade.
That's right.
That's right. I had a friend in high school. He didn't live by that saying. He would say, when life gives you lemons, just get a new life. He was a bit of a pessimist. I never listened to my friend. I listened to the advice by the comedian Stephen Wright. Any of you ever hear of Stephen Wright?
It sounds familiar.
Yeah? He's from Massachusetts. He has a saying that says, sometimes even when you lose, you actually win.
True.
Kind of like playing a game of musical electric chairs.
That's all.
Sure.
It's a game you don't want to win. Right?
No.
So by taking a bad day and finding a way to have a sweet outcome instead of a sour outcome, by changing our focus, we're able to have a positive outcome. I have another magic trick to show you, folks. How many of you like riddles? Some of you do? I hate riddles. I can't stand them. Because I can never figure them out. But what I do like about riddles is I like to hear the solution to the riddle. And then I go back to the riddle, listening to the words to figure out the clues. Because the words in a riddle give us clues. They also confuse us. But there are clues. So let me show you what I mean. This one is going to take some imagination. Pretend that we have 3 cups face down on the stool. Can you all see the 3 cups?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you can't see them, so much for your imagination. Pretend. All right. Oh, I also have a little red ball. Can you all see the little red ball?
Yep, it's red.
The skeptic. All right. The ball starts off inside my pocket. I'm going to sneak the ball out of the pocket and place it underneath one of the cups. Now, you won't see me do this. You won't see me do it. But you're going to have to try and guess which cup has the ball. Do you think the ball is underneath cup number 1, cup number 2, or cup number 3? If you have an answer, don't say it out loud. But just raise your hand if you think you know which one it is. We have one over here, over here, a few of you. Let's go over here. What's your name?
Ashley.
Ashley? Do you think it's 1, 2, or 3? 2. And why do you think it's cup number 2?
It's fell in your hand.
Okay, so you were watching my hands, right? So you didn't want to get confused by my words. You watched the hands. All right, let's take a look and see. Drum roll, please. How dare I? That was a good guess, though. It was a good guess. All right, so we have cup 1 and cup 3 left. So let's try another guess. Who else has a guess? You have a guess? And your name?
Haley.
Haley? 1 or 3?
0.
Oh, 0. It is underneath one of them. It is underneath one of them.
Cup 1.
Cup number 1. All right, drum roll, please. Hey, there it is! Give her a nice big hand. That was fantastic. Is that what you guessed too? Did you guess number 1?
I thought number 2. You thought it was 2?
I just think it's no, I just think it's
We have a skeptic over here.
It's strict up tricks.
But there is a reason why it's underneath cup number 1.
Which is your number 1.
I like that answer, but no. It's because we could only choose one. We could only choose one, right? We can't choose 2 cups or 3 cups, but I meant we could only choose cup number 1. The words in a riddle give us clues, but they also confuse. It's all about choosing the words that we use to focus on. We're going to take this a step further.
Oh.
This is the real cup number 1.
Is that glass?
It's plastic.
Oh.
I bought it at Walmart.
Okay. This glass isn't working.
Anything inside there? Are you sure? Okay. The cup. Oh, I almost forgot. I also
You're
have
dumping it in there.
the little red ball. The ball starts off inside of my pocket. And I'm going to try and sneak the ball out of my pocket and get it back underneath the cup without you folks seeing it. Right? So you can, it's still inside the cup. So again, it starts off inside the pocket. I sneak it out of the pocket and get it back underneath the cup
Without us touching.
without you seeing. That's the hope. That's the plan. I think he's going to catch me. Are you ready?
Alright.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Do it.
He's watching me
Let's
close.
do it.
All right. Let's see. On the count of 3, let's see if we can do this. 1, 2, 3. I seem to be having trouble getting it from my pocket back underneath. Oh! I think I know what the problem is. I forgot the magic words. You know what the magic...
Abracadabra.
What? Yeah.
It's close.
Yeah.
It's abracadabra, alama positivity.
Oh, wait. Oh.
And when we do that right, the ball goes back underneath the cup. Is everyone ready?
Yeah.
On the count of 1, 2, 3.
Abracadabra.
That's close enough. There we go.
I just said abracadabra.
All right. Let's try this again. Let's try this again. Because I think this side of the room is catching on, but this side of the room hasn't caught on to the riddle yet. We're going to do this again.
I
The
just
ball goes inside.
You
You can still see it inside.
Oh! It's stuck.
Okay.
It's stuck.
X-ray knew.
It's stuck.
All right. I place it back inside my pocket. This is where I get nervous, though. Because you've seen me do this twice now.
Yeah.
Alright? There's a rule in magic. You never do the same trick twice. Because if you do, people have a better chance of catching on as to what's going on. I just broke this rule. Because I'm trying to transfer this information to you.
I'm
Trying to get this point across. I said I was putting the ball inside my pocket.
But it was fake.
That was fake magic. Because you only saw my hand go in my pocket. You didn't see the ball go inside the pocket, you just saw the hand. The logical conclusion,
It's the ball sticky.
it never left the cup, right?
Well,
I mean, it did leave the cup. It actually did go inside my pocket. But this is what I want us to understand. It's that magic, just like life, opens us up for surprise. We have our plans in life of the things we want to do, but life has its own plans for us. And if we aren't open to the surprises of life, if we try and stick too close to our plans and not be open to surprises, that's when negativity can creep into our lives. So if we thought the ball was going to be underneath the cup, I would have showed you that it was inside my pocket. But if we thought it was inside my pocket, I would have showed you that it was inside the cup this whole time. Because of our focus. I love your response to this. High five. But this is what I want us to understand, remember.
Sticking.
It's all about the surprise. And I hear people saying sticking, but I think it's sticking in a way that you don't expect. You see, this is about making the information sticky, to making it stick, to make it memorable. Because there's more here than just the ball. And there's more here than just the cup. What do you think it is? What's the other thing that we have here?
Positive.
High five. It is positivity, because remember, when life gives us lemons,
Oh my. That makes mine.
there's no trust.
All of them are now just focused on Kamal.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
No, wait, you gotta pick up the chair from underneath the mat.
Hey, just so the people in the back can see. Yeah.
So we can see.
Yeah.
On the bottle.
It's very
Slow-mo.
Wait,
Come on, pull the rabbit out.
Oh, my rabbit hopped away from home. I like you, Jamal.
It's funny.
Was it silly? No.
Funny.
Silly?
Silly, funny?
Silly.
Funny.
Funny, that's what I'm thinking. Funny, yeah. Yeah. I lost my place. Oh, that's right. It's all about our focus. Now, we all know how easy it is to lose focus in life, right? How it's easy to take our eye off of positivity, lemons, when negativity creeps into our lives. It's kind of like what happens. Do any of you drive? Anyone have your license?
No.
No? You have your license? So it's kind of like what happens when we're driving, perhaps a long distance, maybe a way that we go a way that we've been several times. We sort of get hypnotized, and we get to where we're going, but we forget the individual turns that we took to get there. It's kind of like that. Any of you play video games?
Yeah.
It's also kind of like playing video games. You'll be playing and hours will go by.
That's what I do.
Yeah, you realize hours.
And you don't even know it. It's easy to get distracted, hypnotized by the repetitive nature and the cycles of life. But by taking the time to step back and remember to focus on the things that truly matter in life, then even when surprises come into our life, even when negative things creep into our lives, we'll be able to have sweet outcomes.
Can you make
instead of
lemonade?
negative outcomes. Now, I can't do that trick. But that would be a good one. Next time I'm here, I will do that trick.
Okay.
That's right. Be positive. Hashtag. So, my questions for you folks then, at this point, are these. How have you been feeling lately?
Depressed.
I feel like
Welcome to high school.
Yeah.
High school.
Tiny.
That's bio. That's bio.
oh, finals?
We're in the
Yeah,
middle of final
sometimes
exams.
schoolwork can creep in and make things difficult for us. So our schoolwork, you're feeling stressed. How about with your friends? How are you feeling?
Yeah, you're
I'm
fine.
You good with your friends?
Okay, fine.
Right? How about your family?
Yeah.
Things are going good at home, right? How do you feel about the direction that your life is going? Whether it's
Beautiful.
I love these answers.
One of a kind. Beautiful. One of a kind.
One of a kind. And the last question here, are you getting the results that you've been looking for in all areas of your life?
No.
You said no. Over here. Kind of?
Kind of.
Some of you yes, some of you yes. Well, high five if it's yes.
High five.
But if the answer is no, then a good first step is to take a look at where you've been focusing lately. I know for me, a lot of times when I lose focus, there's two places that I look to first. The first one is I look at my wallet. I look at where I've been spending my money. Where have I been spending the resources that I have? The other thing that I look at is my calendar, my daily schedule. What are my habits? Where am I investing my time? It's those two places that if I'm getting struggles and I'm depressed or things aren't working out, I look at those places and I make some changes. So at this point, I hope I've convinced you about the power that positivity can have in our lives. But there is one important thing that I need to address, because there's some confusion from some people about what positivity really means. And to make sure that we're all on the same page and thinking about the same type of positivity, I need to explain this a little bit. Some people think positivity is about wearing rose-colored glasses, walking around pretending everything is fine and dandy, even when everything isn't fine and dandy, when we should probably make some changes in our lives, but instead we decide to forge ahead anyway. I suggest that that's not positivity. That's ridiculous. I had an instance when I was 13 years old, and I was invited to do a magic show at my high school talent show. I grew up in Palmer. Jason and I both grew up in Palmer. I'm not sure if you were there for this, Jason. But I was doing the talent show. I wanted to do a big trick. So I decided to do a version of the game Russian roulette.
Oh,
Have you ever heard of this game?
No.
It's not a fun game. I don't recommend playing. In fact, you should not play it. But my version of the game used test tubes that you get in like science class.
no.
They were all filled with water, except for one. One of them was filled with hydrochloric acid. This stuff is dangerous because it looks like water, it's clear, it's colorless, it's odorless, but it does not taste like water. The idea was I was blindfolded, someone from the audience mixed up all the test tubes, and I was supposed to drink from all of the test tubes, leaving just one. The one that had the acid. That was the idea.
Oh my god.
Insert 13-year-old Jonas on the night of the talent show. I was blindfolded. They were mixed. In the very first one I drank,
Acid.
had the acid.
What?
Yes.
You had to go to hospital?
I did have to go to the hospital. But the problem was, though, everyone thought it was part of the show. They didn't think I would actually use real acid, so everyone just laughed and laughed. Meanwhile, I'm running around screaming for help. At this point, my mother was freaking out, because of course, she was in the audience. So she drove me to the hospital. I ended up on a feeding tube for a whole month because I couldn't eat solid food, which was just as well because I couldn't taste anything. The acid ate away my taste buds. Thankfully, they grow back. They do grow back.
Oh, thank God.
But even in this terrible situation, I was able to find something positive in this. And it's that I now know that acid whitens your teeth.
Really?
It's true. I don't recommend it, but it does work. Now, I tell you this story because when I was practicing this trick leading up to the night of the talent show, I was positive that the trick was going to work. The only problem was I wasn't basing my positivity on reality. Because in practice, I didn't use real acid. In practice, I used seltzer water.
Why can't you use soda water instead of acid?
Well, in practice, that's what I used. But in the show, I used real acid. But the problem was, in rehearsal, I would mess up the trick sometimes. But as the night of the talent show came around, I said, I didn't have any other big trick to do, so I said, this just has to work. So I put on my rose-colored glasses. I put on my positive attitude. I said, it's just going to work because it has to work. But that's not the kind of positivity that I'm trying to suggest we follow. Again, that's ridiculous. Ignoring reality will never bring positivity into our lives. What I'm suggesting when I say we should focus on the positive is move beyond a positive attitude. Because a positive attitude is good for getting us started. It's good for getting us into the game. But there has to be something that keeps us going, something that lets us go the distance and not end up in the hospital. When I say we focus on the positive, I'm talking about confidence. Because if we think about it, when we say that we're positive of something, do we mean that we're not too sure? Do we mean that we only hope something is true? Or that we wish something good is going to happen? What's that?
You make it.
You make it. So yeah, so when we say we're positive, we don't mean that it's not true, we mean that it is true, right? We mean that we're sure of the truth, that we're basing our information on reality rather than wishful thinking. Wishful thinking, again, that's a good attitude to get us started, but confidence keeps us going. And this brings us to the whole point I want us to understand. Positivity requires an honest assessment of reality. But we get to choose the frame that we use to display our circumstances, to display our reality. And this frame is made up of the very words that we choose to focus on. And these words can either lift us up or they can drag us down. I have something for all of you. This worksheet that I have for you folks it's a word search. And it's a word search that's filled with positive words. And the goal is to look through the word search and find all the positive words that you can.
I already found
That's a nice positive word.
All right, so you can start now.
Ah, dude.
Boom.
And then some.
And time.
Really?
Really?
I have
So,
3.
how many of you found all of the positive words?
Which one?
So some of you found all of them.
I have 3.
How many of you, so there's 13 positive words. How many of you found at least 6?
1, 2, 3, 4.
All right. How many of you found at least 4? Over here. How about 3?
I got an 8.
You got 8? Okay.
I got 10.
I got 9.
You got 9,
I got
okay.
10.
You got 10? So you were almost there. So it seems like, but you were you found all of them and you two found all of them.
I found one.
All right, so you 3 get the high five award.
I got 10 still.
And it was actually the 3 of us.
Oh, it's a team effort.
It was a team.
We cheated.
We were supporting.
Proof
That's
that
cheating.
great
Now
things
you're
happen
telling
when
me.
we work together.
Yes.
Hashtag positivity. So the idea about this exercise is that, and perhaps some of you noticed this, I know this group noticed it, is that depending on how closely you looked at this word search, you'll discover that there's more words than just those 13 positive
Negative
words.
Yeah, I found a lot.
There's also some negative words. Yeah, how many of you found negative words in
I
there?
found positive.
I'm keep hearing Amy talking.
Some of you found,
Yeah.
what words did you find?
Negativity, like.
Okay, so you actually saw negativity in there, right? Yep, negativity is
I was
one.
looking for positive. I didn't see negative.
I'm getting chills. Because that's what this exercise is meant to show us. It's that we were shown all the positive words that we were asked to look for. And some of you found all of them, some of you found most of them, but you found these positive words. But the secret is there is an equal number of negative words hidden in this word search. There's a total of 13 negative words hiding in there. Now, because we were given the task to look for and focus on the positive, you found mostly positive words, right? Did anyone not see any negative words?
I found 1 pity.
You found one. Oh,
I
pity.
didn't pay attention.
Pity, yeah, that is a negative word. Right?
Rage.
I know.
Greed.
Greed.
Greed. You found that word.
Sorrow.
I didn't even.
But that's good.
Yeah.
That's good that you didn't see the negative words.
Me, I found all of these.
Unlike me.
Is the cup half empty or half full?
Oh yeah, that's a great saying. Is the cup half empty or half full, right? It depends on how we look at it. If we look at this same worksheet with the negative words listed, we would have found the cup half full, half empty.
Half empty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But because we looked at it from the perspective of half full, by focusing on the positive, we got positive results. How many of you have heard the story of the 2 wolves? You've heard of this story?
Yeah, but I forgot it.
You forgot it. Anyone else hear of it? So the story goes, there's 2 wolves inside of us. One wolf is a good wolf. This is the wolf of all the positive words: positivity, confidence, peace, love, joy, serenity, all the good stuff. The other wolf is the bad wolf. That's the wolf of negativity, greed, pity, anger, sorrow, all that negative stuff. So the question becomes, if there's these 2 wolves inside of us that are battling it out, that are fighting, the question is, which wolf is going to win?
No one.
The good one?
Which one?
The good one?
The good one, you think? So you think none of them are going to win. You think the good wolf? Any other thoughts?
I think that wolf.
You think the bad wolf?
Because
Wow.
positive, negative equals negative.
Oh, so you're thinking mathematically.
No, not just math. Just math.
Isn't that math?
Analytical stuff, no, math. But that's for constructing measuring the distance, but life, no.
Well, you can't.
Yeah, MCAS, yeah.
No.
Future, positive.
let's not focus on MCAS.
Whatever.
Not today.
I just finished.
Oh, you found them all.
Yeah.
So we heard some interesting answers. None of them would win. The good one would win. The bad wolf would win. But as the story goes, the story of the wolves, the wolf that wins this fight is the one that you feed. If you feed the good wolf is going to have the strength to overcome negativity. If you choose, though, instead to focus on negative things and you feed the negative wolf, you feed the dark side of yourself, then that bad wolf is going to have the strength to overpower the good wolf.
True.
Positivity or negativity, which one wins?
Positivity.
Or whichever one you choose to feed. Right? So which wolf do you folks want to feed?
Both.
Positivity, yeah.
Which one?
Both.
You want to feed both of them?
Yes.
I'm interested to hear why you want to feed both of them.
Because the reason why is like sometimes when people say bad things, like what, like you just continue smiling, but you have to be mad at them and tell them how you feel. So
I
use
see
your
what you
anger.
mean. I think he has something to say about this.
You could change the negative to a positive.
How? Yeah, it's a good question. How do we do that?
If we give them love and confidence,
Yeah, but what
then that
happens?
negative will become positive.
I see where you're going, and I see where you're coming from too, because if positivity requires an honest assessment of reality, then we can't just ignore the people who are mean to us, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can't just pretend they're not there. I think that's what you mean, right?
Yeah.
This is something that I've thought a lot about, and my current answer to this is that there's a way to respond to negative people, whether it's a fellow student, whether it's a friend, family member, a stranger you meet on the street. There's two options when dealing with negative people. The first way is the nice way, and then the second way is the kind way. Now they sound similar, but I'll explain my understanding of this. The nice way is to not rock the boat. The nice way is to just sort of get through your interaction with them without things blowing up. You might say things to them just to make them happy so that they don't get even more angry. But the other way to respond is the kind way. And the kind way takes into consideration an expression of care. Care for the other person's feelings. Care for the feelings of the people who are also interacting with this negative person. Because by being nice, it kind of sweeps the problem under the rug, even though it gets you out of the situation for the time being. But the kind way addresses the situation by trying to find out what is causing this person to be so negative. Let's say it's someone who's yelling at you or insulting you in some way. You can take the time to ask them, what's going on? Why are you acting this way? You're not. If it's a friend of yours, you can say you're not acting yourself today. Did something happen today? Or what's going on? In the immediate, the person might get even angrier, but they might also take a step back and realize, yeah, I'm really not acting myself because such and such happened today. So that's the kind way to address the situation. So it's I wouldn't call it feeding the bad wolf though, I would call it engaging the bad wolf to try and help them.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Help them.
Yeah. That's the hashtag positivity way.
Keep smiling all the time, that's the positive. It's like stay happy. And if you don't stay positive, then you will stay negative. You want to have a happy time. You want to have a happy time, stay positive. Always stay positive. Good things, positive things will happen in your life.
that's a great point, is that whenever I'm smiling, like, I'm having a great day today. I'm having fun
too.
being here.
Smile.
Yeah? Are you all having fun?
Yeah.
Right? You enjoying yourself? Jamal's like, no.
Fake. I love it.
I think you're having fun.
I'm all so funny.
More
All
time.
right.
What are some other ways of being positive? So we talked about working with negative people. What are some ways that keep us positive and happy?
I'm a dancer. So, we, at the competition, if you lose, we just make sure we stay up, put your chin up, stay positive, and cheer other teammates.
What's
Like,
that?
doesn't matter if you lose, just keep up and stay positive.
Yeah, there's a saying, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. If you approach it as a growing experience, then you really can't lose, right? That's a good point. And also, dancing, if that's something you enjoy doing, I bet when you're dancing, you're having fun, right?
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Yeah. One of the ways that I stay positive is I love jokes. So I might open up a joke book, or I might turn on the TV and watch like a funny television show.
Family Guy?
The Jokers?
Family Guy?
Family Guy, it's hilarious. I do input Family Guy.
You mean like the tactical Jokers from the TV show?
Well,
Oh my god, they're so funny.
they can be kind of negative too, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you like that, so that brings you joy. It makes you laugh, right? Yeah.
My older sister always says to me is that in Madagascar, you know, the penguin, they say, always smile and wave. Wow. Because it happened before, there was a me and my twin sister and my older sister were in a car, and some dudes for whatever, I don't know what happened to them, but they were negative, and and we were driving, and my older sister rolled down the window and she said, "Smile and wave, boys!" And that was funny. It's fun.
Sometimes the best way to face a negative situation is just smile and wave, right? All right, I just got the heads up that we only have a couple minutes left, so I'd like to end our time together with this last thought. I've really enjoyed, especially the last few moments, getting ideas from you folks of the ways that you like to stay positive, the smile and wave, the dance, smile, right? I'm going to leave you with this parting thought. It's not always easy to stay positive in a world full of lemons. But one of the ways that I stay positive, and a lot of my friends stay positive, is by not running away from, not sweeping the problems under the rug, but by being kind, choosing kindness, and getting to the core of what it is that's holding us back. Because when we do, when we get to the very center of our problems,
Oh God, what is that?
That money?
is no fine waiting for us.
Nah. That gum.
That's not money.
That can't be the. That can't be
That wasn't in it.
This
That's
is
a card.
That's impossible.
this is a playing card. Enjoyment card, right?
No, it's money.
Don't do three. Look at come on.
Number 3!
Now remember,
Real. How can you do that?
remember,
It's not like lemonade.
Yeah. No.